in tonight's presentation. This is the last opportunity to see the open wheel tour type cars before they go to their next stop, which will be the first stop on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour in the South, before heading back up to the north to the Thompson Speedway in Thompson, Connecticut, and to the Stafford Motor Speedway in Stafford Springs, Connecticut, for the greatest race in the history of spring. Now, earlier in the week, we've recapped, tried to move things along as quick as we possibly can, told you who did what and why, and there's no question about it, no surprise to anyone, but Matt Hirschman has been very, very impressive, and so has Chuck Hosfeld. Now, the amazing thing about these two drivers is they come from the ROC circuit, and they have competed against each other many, many times and have multiple titles and championship and some of the biggest paydays to their history. So going into the modified portion of tonight's event for the final point race, Chuck Hosfeld leads with 230 points over Matt Hirschman in second with 214. Jimmy Blewett is third with 196. Just ahead of Amy Catalano with 194, and Doug Colby rounds out the top five with 192. Now, Colby had a terrible night last night, which resulted in that car being worked on to the wee hours of the morning and most of the day to get it back and ready for the competition. So there's a lot of ups and downs and roller coasters. Ryan Preece, of course, could not be here tonight because of his commitment with the JTC Cup team, but he put the Falmouth Ready Mix, TJ Haller's car, into victory lane here during the course of the series. Perhaps the toughest situation occurred for Jeff Goodale when a right front tire went down and he hit at a ton down in turn number 3. Couple of engines. The Willis family lost an engine, very sadly, along with the Nacella family. So they had their share of problems and struggles as well. Assembled before you is what they call the ground pounders. Now, if you know anything about racing in the northeastern region of the country, the term ground pounder originated at short tracks like the Stafford Motor Speedway and the tracks up in upper New England. And it was a gentleman by the name of Jackie Arute, who was one of the people with Mike Joy, who picked up that phrase and carried that phrase. Now, the reason for it is the fact that modifieds were so low, sleek, and to the ground, and they are the only type of a race car of their design that literally looks like it has grown up out of the ground itself. So it's kind of appropriate in those days that they picked that title. The pace car at the front of this field is an official Cadillac Indianapolis-style pace car. And the man that sits behind the wheel of that with the white, we'll call it a Robert Hart-type hat on, is Chris Hopkins. Now, Chris Hopkins was one of the most professional, classy flaggers in the northeastern region of the country. He flagged at the Race of Champions for Joe Gerbers for years and years at the Stafford Motor Speedway at Thompson and Flemington, and wherever a flag could be waved, he did it. He was just an amazing individual, and he even was here at the New Smyrna Speedway when he moved to the sunny South. But behind that is, of course, what would this event be without a replica car or a tribute car, the number 61, Eddie Freeman's machine of the Rapid Roman Richie Evans Coupe. That car was on display throughout the week on the Midway area. The number 1, Chris Hatton's car. That's the Charlie J. Zombach tribute car. Then we go to the number 04 machine of Kurt Hatton. Directly behind that car, additional cars that were assembled in the parking lot. I think it's appropriate that we mention some of them had to leave and could not come out, but I'm going to mention their numbers and their names anyways. The 134 of Howie Masters, the 11 of Steve Burnside, the 27X is Richie Gomes, the 36 was here today for Michael Shorter, the number 4 was here for Hank Goodrich, the 55 was Scott Phobes, and the 34 was Richard Delicio. The 129 was Mike Morin. The 45 was Jody Mosley. And the 2X was Gary Lyons and Jim Zabel with the number 44 car. So they were supposed to have an exhibition event for the ground pounders. And if they did, the lineup would have been the following. Toby Smith with the 44. Eddie Freeman outside of the front row with the 61 machine. The 55 of Scott Phobes. The 88 of Ross Hess. And then the third row back in the exhibition would have been the number 1 car of Scott Helto. Rick DeLisio, the 34 machine, Barry Dalton. And there's the green. And as they take a few laps around the oval here, I just want you to remember and think back, maybe when you were a youngster, or tell the youngsters with you and the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren that this is what racing once looked like here at the New Smyrna Speedway and at other racetracks across America. Clyde Hart and his wife Dolly Hart had an inspiration to bring the modified race cars to the South, and in the old days when they first showed up, they were very similar to a lot of the cars that you're seeing now in this exhibition event. So there's a ton of history that revolves around all of this. And these cars just don't represent a car restored from the past. They represent an era of racing that was founded in the past, that built the foundation of the house that we call modified racing, or racing in the South, the North, the West, Canada, and the USA. Pretty amazing when you stop and think about some of these cars are 50 years old, and they are still as competitive today as they was back in their heyday in the competition as well. So the white flag's coming out, the final lap for the ground pounders. Little three-wide action. Rolly Lapierre, number 134 Rhode Island, one of the legendary drivers from up north, legendary car and drivers from up north. And Ralph will give him the checker. And ladies and gentlemen, we want to salute the ground pounders. Let's give them a nice round of applause, if you would, please, ladies and gentlemen, for bringing you a little bit of the history of this great sport and the foundation of this great sport as well. So, it's getting closer to showtime. Hello, everyone. I'm Ben Dodge, and I am your host for the modified portion of the program. I was brought to the New Smyrna Speedway by Clyde and Dolly Hart, along with a gentleman by the name of Bill Slater, the legendary V8 man, and we were here a part of the history as this grew and continues to grow wherever, ever it is. It seems to be the most popular, the oldest division in NASCAR, and there is so much history that revolves around all of this. As the cars are beginning to fire up, I'm going to ask you, the race fans, to join with me as we're going to do this rather quickly tonight based on the time factor and the conditions as well. But I want you to all to take out your cell phones that have those flashlights on them and those lighters and things of that nature. And I'm going to tell you to light them up a little bit later. But now they're staging the cars. They're 2,600-pound rocket sleds. They compete on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, both north and south. They compete at great facilities that run weekly, like the Stafford Motor Speedway in Stafford Springs, Connecticut, home of the greatest race in the history of spring, the Spring Sizzler, the Thompson Speedway, the Seekonk Speedway. Then they head to the sunny south. They compete at facilities for weekly competition like Bowman Gray, the ROC circuit, Jack Bateman's famed Valente Modified Racing Series, the Tri-Track Series, Chemung in upstate New York, and all those other great facilities are all true part of the history. As they bring the cars out of the racetrack, they'll be stopping them down on the front straightaway. And as they stop those cars in the front straightaway, I would like to just take a moment to mention a few things. And before I start to mention those things, I want everybody to realize that it is not our intention to miss or slight any individual from the past, because they are all near and dear to all of our heart. On the running of the Beloit Memorial event, we played a tribute lap as the cars fired up to the legendary Maynard Troyer, who built the foundation of what we now refer to as modern-day modified race cars. Ladies and gentlemen, like gladiators about to be sent center stage into an arena, they'll bring these cars and stop them on the front straightaway. When the cars come to a stop, I will ask you to please rise with me and listen to these words. And then remember these special people that are in your heart, and then we'll present the starting lineup for this evening's Richie Evans Memorial 100. It is not just a race about Richie Evans. It is a race about modifieds. It's a race about people that made a difference in modified racing, and that's what Richie Evans was all about. The field is going to be stopped to the front straightaway area. They will tune down the engines on the race car. Turn the engines off for just a moment. Gentlemen, all engines, please shut them down now. Thank you, if you would. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said before, I have had the pleasure of working with the entire Hart family for a lot of years here at the new Smyrna Speedway. Clyde and Dolly Hart, they changed things and brought cars from all over the region to the sunny South to compete here at this racetrack. Robert, Jane, and Andrew Hart took that torch and they carried it to the next level. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as we remember the following individual. Understanding why the precious things in life get taken away is one of the great mysteries of the world. That is the case when it comes to Richie Evans, a man that was 6 foot tall and larger in life than anyone. He was a scrapper both on and off the racetrack. Richie Evans had style. He had the ability to party and wheel a modified like no one other. He built and created his own winning race cars in a time when very few did that. His DeWitt Big Orange Machine Modified was considered the car to beat. Imagine this, in one season alone, the rapid Roman Richie Evans raced in 68 modified events, and he won 32 of the 68. Richie was the best and always will be the best. He will remain in our hearts forever. But in 2017, another situation happened that really hit us not only in our hearts, but really changed the sport of modified racing for the second time. Another very tragic loss. A true young American hero. TC Ted Christopher, with a bounce in his step, a smile on his face that made you feel like, well, you were at home when he was around at the racetrack. In 2001, he won the national title, making him one of the best short-track drivers in America. He is Stafford Motor Speedway's all-time winningest driver. He holds 9 titles here at the new Smyrna Speedway. Ladies and gentlemen, if there is a king, and that man is wearing a crown, it's TC Ted Christopher. We also would like to salute other great individuals like Maynard Troyer, who built the foundation of great racing action, who made the cars that were so unique and so special. Of course, besides Richie Evans, Tom Baldwin, the legendary Baldwin that drove the 7 New York. And of course, Tony Jankowiak. Mario Fiore, the owner of the 44 that Reggie Ruggiero put in the winner's circle, along with Joe Brady, Bill Slater, Ron Bouchard, Charlie Jazombak, Bob Weber Sr., the owner and promoter of the Star Speedway. And very recently, tragically, one of our dearest friends, George Summers, the living legend, would pass away. Phil Kurz, who put the Wheel and Engineering program for modifieds into life and into our hearts forever. And Bob Judkins, who started more than a Pinto revolution. He started a new way of racing. But here at the new Smyrna Speedway, we were also blessed with a lot of very special people over the years that made this program a huge success. God bless, and we say thank you to Robert Hart, to Jane Hart, his wife, to Andrew Hart, for all that they continue to do to make these programs grow. Last year, during the World Series, we lost a special lady that really inspired to make this program what it is today. Her name was Kim Brown. She was my friend, and she was somebody that believed in this series, believed in the Hart family, and believed in racing as we know it today. Peggy Kincaid worked here in the Scorers Tower another special lady, and Howie Hodge took the photos that we'll all remember. His wife, Mary, is now struggling with mechanical woes. So now I think it's appropriate that we introduce to you the starting lineup, and we ask you to join with me in making the absolute most noise, stomp your feet, give a yell, give it your best, because we are now presenting 21 of the very best in open-wheel modified racing for the final night on the playground of speed known as the Hart Family's World Series of Speedway Racing, Richie Evans Memorial 100. Scheduled to start back in the 21st starting position. He might be considered one of the senior drivers in the competition, but he's been competing here for quite some time. He's a legend in short track racing in the New Long Island, New York area. Ladies and gentlemen, would you give a round of applause for the Gershaw Recycling 21 for Al Emarino. Teammate to the Emarino automobile will start back in the 20th position. Tom T. Tone, he calls his home the South and the North. He's been a consistent runner here. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a nice round of applause from Center Reach. Would you give a round of applause for Tom T. Tone? In the 9th starting position, this gentleman sits behind the wheel of, guess what? Another Gershaw Recycling car, rather. This is car number 2X. Ladies and gentlemen, would you welcome Mike Bologna? In the 18th starting position, 9 rows back, he'll be flanking the outside row. He'll be sitting behind the wheel of car number 55 from West Chapel, Florida, one of the strongest Florida representatives in this series for the modifieds, the Q Auto Insurance Attorney car 55. Give a rousing round of applause for Jeremy Gertzner. In the 17th starting position, they say that once you're a part of a racing family, you are a part of racing forever. Well, the starter that starts next will be driving car number 25C. He's the 2017 Whelen Modified Tour rookie from Johnsonburg, New York, the Power with Prestige automobile. The driver is Calvin Carroll. In the 16th starting spot, this gentleman's big story came just a few short weeks ago. It came in Atlantic City, where he built his own TQ midget, and he literally spanked the field. Car number 12 from Buffalo, New York, driving the Jim Davis Snap-on Tools machine, the Mike Sells golf car rental machine, the Norwood Seafood Restaurant and Spirits car, the Allen Appliance machine. Ladies and gentlemen, would you welcome second-generation driver, his father was a racing legend too, Andy Jankowiak. In the 15th starting position, it is the black number 25, teammate to the silver one. At the age of 12, he was a USAC track champion. From Johnsonburg, New Jersey, the Power with Prestige machine, would you welcome Nikki Carroll. Moving now 7 rows back, sitting behind the wheel of car number 71. The Zachariah family has been a traditional name here at New Smyrna, and this year is no exception to the rule. They dominate weekly racing in upstate New York, and they run strong wherever they run. Driving the Mid-State Basements machine from Candor, New York, ladies and gentlemen, car number 71 for Jimmy Zachariah, starting 14th on the grid. Lucky starting position number 13. If there was one individual that stood out in this year's series, it would have to be her. From Ontario, New York, and yes, you heard me right, her. Driving the CP Ward PJ Radiator Big Sty Troopers machine. She qualified among the top 3 consistently and ran with the big guns throughout the series. She'll start 13th on the field. Ladies and gentlemen, would you welcome Amy Catalano. Scheduled to start 6 rows back in the number 12 position. It is car number 11. This is a name you might not have heard before, but let me tell you about him. He runs on dirt and asphalt, and he won a 300-lap event in Riverhead. He is 16 years of age. The Coram Materials Northeast Office Equipment car. Ladies and gentlemen, give a big round of applause for Dylan Stoyer. 11th starter on the field. He had his best run of the series last night. He does double duty, competing in the upper series of NASCARs as well. The PSR Racing Chassis Machine, they build their own cars. The Lead 2 Real Estate Car, the Z-Max Machine. From Concord, North Carolina, he was a 2017 Bowman Gray rookie. He is Concord Speedway's 2011 champion. Car number 17 for Bobby Meismer Jr. Now moving into the top 10. This gentleman will be starting in the 10th starting spot, setting behind the wheel of car number 36. The Sapienza Racing Enterprises Grasso Brothers prepared car. It runs on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, and he won the Turkey Derby at Wall Stadium. Ladies and gentlemen, he is 53 years young. Car number 36. Give a big round of applause for Dave Sapienza. Scheduled to start inside row number 5, car number 32. You talk about continuing to work hard. They had a tough series, but they overcome it all. From Owego, New York, the Nelcorp Electric Company machine. Ladies and gentlemen, would you welcome Tyler Ripkama. In the 8th starting position, he too is a guy to keep your eyes on. Jan Leedy, the legendary driver himself, in his own rights, has been the guy that's been turning the wrenches with his good buddy Eddie Hawkins. The Celine's Hot Dog Machine from Williamson, New York, won at Bristol. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome car number 07 for Patrick Emmerling. Scheduled to start in the 7th starting spot. This gentleman seems to have done it all. And you know the story, the apple didn't fall far from the tree? Well, it definitely applies here. The PD Motorsports machine, defending race winner, defending champion from Northampton, Pennsylvania, champion of the Tri-Tracks and the ROCs. And this guy is a guy who knows patience, knows how to win, and knows how to run for the money. Would you welcome Matt Hirschman. In the 6th starting spot, he'll be driving car number 2X. This is the white automobile. This gentleman has always been a terror and is a former champion and a former front runner here as well. His nickname is Showtime, and he showed it last night, and he shows it every time he's ever on the racetrack. He's the pride of New Jersey racing. He's competed on asphalt, and he's competed on dirt. Ladies and gentlemen, the Gershaw Recycling, number 2 for Jimmy Beluit. Now moving into position number 5. Incidentally, a spot that he got by his victory at Bronson. Car number 22, I call him the Professor, from Ramsonville, New York. He won at Bronson, $2,000 already. He could win another $1,000 here tonight. 37 years of age. He is a 4-time ROC champion, former World Series, 3-time Loudon, New Hampshire International Speedway winner, 3-time ROC winner, over 120 career victories, Superior Concrete, Jerry Gradle's machine, the man leading the points going into tonight. Would you welcome Chuck Hosfeld. Now row number 2, another standout on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. This is the Sanderson and McLeod machine. Sly Zabin is the crew chief on the race car. This gentleman has 9 wins, 6 poles, the 2014 rookie. Ladies and gentlemen, he's been running 7 years on the tour. I refer to him as Long Island's new Charlie J in a respective way. Car number 16, would you welcome Timmy Salamito. In the 3rd starting position on the grid, it'll be car number 92. This gentleman has won on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour in only about a handful of starts. But that's not all. He's the champion from the Valente Modified Racing Series, the Nocella Paving Machine from Auburn, Massachusetts, car number 92 for Anthony Nocella. Now let's meet the men in the front row. Scheduled to start outside row number 1, the CB Ward Big Sky Toppers machine. The 2018 Rookie of the Year in the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, car number 54 at the age of 20, Tommy Catalano. And starting in position number 1, he was the winner of night number 1. He is from Milford, Connecticut. Ladies and gentlemen, he is a 5-time NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour champion, one of the very, very best in the business. There's no question about it. He'll drive the Phil Moran, Mayhew Tools, Hoosier Tire, Sunoco Racing Enterprises machine. Would you welcome? He calls his home Southington now, but he originates from Milford, Connecticut, car number 2, Connecticut, for the man who starts in position number 1, Doug Colby. Ladies and gentlemen, as we give each and every one of these competitors a rousing round of applause, let's light up those lights. And in just a moment, we're going to give the most famous words in motorsports. Remember, we have a lady in the field as well. So get those phones out, those lighters out and get them lit up and look to the heavens and the skies above. And remember your favorite drivers, the people that made your life special, legendary people, individuals that touched my life, like Jack Arute Sr. from the Stafford Motor Speedway, who gave me a chance as a youngster, and Clyde Hart, who brought me here to New Smyrna. So let's get them a countdown. Keep those lights as bright as we can. We'll take it from 5 all the way down to 1 for the ladies and gentlemen part. Are you ready? I need some noise now. I need to feel the heartbeat of modified racing. At 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
The cars are fired, and we are ready for the Richie Evans Memorial 100 at New Smyrna Speedway for the Tour Type Modifieds. Always awesome to listen to Ben Dodge call the pre-race ceremonies here at New Smyrna Speedway, and brings the history to us of the Tour Type Modifieds. He's been calling them for over 40 years here at the racetrack, as we are moments away from seeing this field go green for 100 laps tonight. We will see a pit stop for each of these cars tonight. They can't make it the full 100 without one, and when will those pit stops come? That will be the key. That will be the strategy, and that will help them maybe find victory lane tonight. How much will the drivers save early on? How much will they go hard? Who will want to be the rabbit to get out in front of the field to lead this pack of cars early on in the race? One driver we've seen, and even in the Blewett race the other night, that really wasn't ashamed to go fast and go fast early was the 54 of Tommy Catalano. We'll see if he does something similar here tonight. A driver you would expect to maybe wait a little while and just end up at the front of the pack at the right place at the right time. The 60, Big Money Matt Hirschman, a driver that just always seems to put himself in position at the end of the race to end up with a victory.
Yeah, he got his nickname for a reason, and this 60, in my opinion, the favorite pick for tonight's Richie Evans Memorial. And man, listening to Ben Dodge and all those driver intros, and it just gives you chills. It's one of the things that we look forward to every single year.
Rolling under yellow for a couple of laps here before we get going. I think they'll probably warm up the tires as we've seen them do each and every night this week, Monday through Friday. The Tour Type Modifieds are here for the World Series, and they usually take some laps at speed before we get going. Modifieds have brought us good fields of cars the last 3 or 4 years now, as they've cut it down to a 5-day week, and that's helped cut down on the expenses and has brought more of the modifieds from all over the country, mainly the Northeast, to come here to East Central Florida to run a week for the fans at the World Series. So we'll get some laps at speed here before we officially go green in front of a packed grandstand. The World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing, the 53rd running of the World Series. And an entertaining race I think we will have before us tonight, like the Blewett race the other night, a 76-lapper. I think it was exciting from start to finish.
It was. There was a mixture of guys who were punching the go button from the drop of the green flag. There was some that were wanting to be a bit more conservative on their brakes, conservative on their tires and their equipment. And at the end, it really had a weird balance. There was some guys who were starting to fade back, some guys who were starting to march their way forward, and they met in the middle right around the top 5. And that offers up some great races. I think we're going to see more of the same, and now with adding tires, going to add another piece to the puzzle. And some guys may take the tires on both rear tires. Some guys might take both right side tires. It adds an element to this race, and you got to be able to put it all together.
Field coming by us here on the front straightaway, our speed shot. Almost feel the power in the tower, the rumbles of the Tour Type Modifieds.
You're a poet and you didn't know it.
I knew it. Doug Kobe,
you did know it.
Doug Kobe in the number 2 car. On the pole position for tonight's event.
Well, he's kind of been struggling with the speed on that race car since the first night where he picked up the checkered flag. Definitely had to most dominant race car, and then ended up finishing 4th in the John Blewett III Memorial race, but was awarded 14th, gave him the last car in the lead lap because they put a scuffed tire on that machine. And in that race, they were not allowed to put on tires unless it was flat, unless the rim was completely on the ground. They had a slow leak on that machine, and they didn't want to risk tearing up the race car. He said coming into this year for the World Series, they're here really to just learn and pick up speed for the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, and I believe they've conquered that.
Field is lined up, ready to go. 100 laps tonight. Doug Coby, the winner on opening night. The number 2, Catalano, looks for victory lane for the first time at the World Series on the outside. Green is out. 100 laps will go at the World Series tonight. The Richie Evans Memorial 100.
Coby out with the lead. Second place, Tommy Catalano, the Rocket, in the PJ 54. The Natural, the 16 of Timmy Solomito in third. Jimmy Blewett, I believe, settled into the 4th spot as the field flashes across the start-finish line. Jimmy Blewett not wasting any time, going to grab that 3rd position.
Solomito drops in line. Blewett right ahead of him. You see our top 5 there. Chuck Hosfeld leading the points in the 22 car coming into this race. Hosfeld with a 16-point advantage on Matt Hirschman.
Jimmy Blewett going to easily take this 2nd position. He's a driver not wasting any time. Wants to get out front, maybe get ahead of all this mayhem behind him. Chuck Hosfeld also trying to work his way up through the field. Kind of had a rough qualifying effort starting in the 9th spot. Now already up to 4th.
Hosfeld goes back up to the top of the racetrack. Heads down into the 3rd corner. Running in the 5th position. You see him now single file. There's Blewett leading that pack of cars as we watch him run through 1 and 2. Basically the whole pack in the draft knows the tail here early on.
Yeah, single filed out in a hurry. See Matt Hirschman has worked his way into the 6th position. There is your leader, Doug Coby, out front. Good battling just behind him. You see Emmerling, the 36 of Dave Sapienza.
Through turn number 4, Emmerling in the 07, Sapienza the 36, the 17 of Meismer. Meismer finishing in the top 5 last night. First early stage of this race this evening. 65 laps. If we go 65 laps of green, they will have a competition yellow. Wouldn't foresee us going that many laps in a row without a yellow, but it could happen.
And that would be undoubtedly our caution where the drivers come down and take their tires, I believe. Jimmy Blewett into 2nd. Took that spot from Tommy Catalano. Catalano still stalking him in his tire tracks there in 3rd.
You've seen a lot of the number 2 cars this week. Doug Coby leading the way out front by himself. Jimmy Blewett in the other 2. The white number 2 running 2nd. Catalano in the 54 car right there, running in the number 3 spot. Chuck Hosfeld running 4th. Solomito running 5th. There is the leader, the number 2 of Doug Coby, a star from the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. And he's come to the World Series for the first time to run a full week. He's made 1 start coming into this year, and Coby's been good. There's the 60 of Hirschman, the 92 of Nocella, 6th and 7th in our rundown. Hirschman was our fast qualifier. He started in the 6th spot.
Hasn't gone anywhere. He started 6th, and he still is in the 6th position, but might not be for long as Nocella beginning to pressure him for that 6th spot. I'm sure Matt won't give him too much grief if he drops down to the inside. Nocella has shown a lot of speed this year at the World Series. Hasn't been able to put together 2 solid runs, but, I mean, he's had a couple good finishes.
Drivers being patient right now. You can see it. They're taking a little more time. The Blewett race, 76 laps. They don't have to pit. A little less strategy involved on Wednesday night. Tonight, they're being a little more patient here early on. They want to save as much tire as they can for late in the race.
Nocella doing a good job right now just following Big Money Matt Hirschman. That's a good person to follow if you want to stick to a game plan. His game plan usually comes to fruition at the end of this race, but already seen a little rotor glow out of the 60 of Hirschman. I'm not seeing too many rotors glowing. Maybe it's just the first one I've really noticed.
Hirschman in the 60, running the bottom of the racetrack in 3 and 4 as we look back up front to our leader, the 2 of Doug Kobe. A 1.2 second lead on Jimmy Blewett right now. That time by the line, Blewett was a little bit faster by about a tenth, trying to close the gap here without running too awful hard, because really it doesn't matter if you're leading laps right now. All it shows is you've got a good race car at the early stage of the race.
Some battling towards the middle of the pack. You see the 11 of Stoyer, the 25 of Calvin Carroll going to get around Jimmy Zacharias. That is 12th and 13th. Calvin going to move up underneath and take that spot away from Jimmy Zacharias. And the Carrolls really have had a rough go at the World Series, but trying to turn it around here in the final night for the Tour Mods.
Beesmer in the 17, Stoyer the 11, Carroll in the 25 car. Carroll in the 25 running 13th, so 11th and 12th. Just ahead of him here in the early stages, Zacharias in the 71 car there as well. Zacharias had a 4th place finish on night number 6, his best run of the week. And they're back to the leader, the 2 of Doug Kobe out front as he crosses the line, the conclusion of lap number 18. Clean and green so far, and it's been all Doug Kobe. He's expanding his lead up to 1.4 seconds.
Chuck Hoxfeld up there on your screen, and he is your point leader, has a 16 points lead over Matt Hirschman in second. Third is Jimmy Blewett, 34 points back, and then it's real close there for the third position. Amy Catalano, 36 points back, and Doug Kobe, 38 points back.
Yeah, Hoxfeld an 8 position advantage in the points. 16 points is a matter of about 8 positions, and right now that leaves the 22 car of Hoxfeld in the driver's seat for the championship, and he's been in the top 5 every night. He has been definitely consistent.
He's been about the same as Sammy Smith. You know, Sammy Smith never finished outside the top 5. Neither has Chuck Hoxfeld. A 5th on night 1, 4th following that, 2nd and 3rd last night. Looking for another solid run. And we still continue to look at the battle for second. Blewett has chipped away slowly at the lead of Doug Kobe, and he's got Catalano in tow behind him.
It was at 1.2 seconds. It went up to 1.4 seconds, and it's back down to a second. So over the last couple of laps, he's closed the gap a little bit as the 2 car of Blewett tries to run down the leader, Doug Kobe. Catalano showing a little more patience right now than what he's done for much of this week. He has been very fast. His best World Series we've seen for Catalano in the 54, as we watch him follow the 2nd place car of Blewett. The leader in the lower left of the screen, you see him exit turn 4. They're not too far behind.
I think Catalano definitely learned a lesson from the 76 lap. John Blewett III Memorial went really hard early and didn't have the tires at the end of the race. Even though you get to put on tires for this one, you could see him be more reserved in the start of this one than he was a couple of nights ago.
25 of the 100. Green flag run so far at 25 laps the start of the race. Kobe's laying down some good laps. He's stretching out his lead again. It's kind of been back and forth. He gives up a little bit for a few laps, probably cools the tires a little bit or doesn't run them extra hard for a few laps, and then he steps up the pace a little bit, pulls back away by a few tenths of a second, and then Blewett makes another run.
Good time for Hirschman.
Speaking of which, Hirschman starts moving forward. You didn't move him past Hoxfeld. That was for 4th, and I think 2nd and 3rd going to be a battle now going down into turn 1.
It's almost like a snowball effect. Once one person starts moving, the next person in front of him starts moving. And that lap before, he had worked around Solomito to take 5th and then got Hoxfeld and now Blewett. And all of a sudden, Big Money Matt says it's time to go.
In the history of the World Series, no driver has won the Blewett and the Evans in the same week. Hirschman won the Blewett on Wednesday night. He tries to win the Evans on a Friday night. He's in the 3rd spot. Watching him head down the front straightaway into turn number 1 as the 54 of Catalano tries to close the gap on the leader, and he is closing in within a half second of that guy right there, Doug Kobe.
Yeah, in a hurry. starts to open up the throttle and close in 0.6 advantage by Kobe at the line. Really chopping into that lead. Just a few laps ago, it was over a second. There you see Chuck Hosfeld holding on to fifth. Solomito back to sixth. Nocella just there behind him and blew it up in front.
Closing on the 1/3 mark of this race, we've seen some passing in our top five as the action starts to heat up a little bit. Kobe leading the way. His lead last time by was at 0.8 of a second, so he's gained a little ground again, trying to put some more distance between himself and Catalano. And some of that might be Catalano has a challenge of his own on his hands. Here comes Hirschman. What a run off of turn number 2.
This is really out of character for Hirschman. We're not used to seeing him go this early, but maybe he's under the impression that he wants track position. Track position is hard to get, especially in the later part of the run. Even if you have the better car, it's tough to pass here at New Smyrna because the outside lane is just as good as the inside, especially if you have the better car on the inside. You can't get the run off the corner. We saw Bubba Pollard pass for the lead on the outside. He's really the only person we've seen be successful pass up on the outside, especially for the top spot.
Solomito running in the 6th position, but not any longer as Nocella in the 92 has moved up from 7th, taken 6th away. Nocella's car running strong tonight. He's had a couple of good runs this week. In fact, opening night, Nocella finished in the 4th position. 35 laps complete. 65 to go. Nocella and Solomito, followed by the 32 car of Ripkema, the 07 of Emmerling, the 35 car of Sapienza right there.
The race monitor people got a little bit closer. It went from Smyrna to Sapienza for Sapienza.
The 07 of Emmerling on the inside of Ripkema heading into turn number 3. Emmerling was running 9th. He wants 8th at the line. He has it, just barely. Emmerling moves up into the 8th position. Sapienza looks to the inside. He'll try to take 9th away from Ripkema. Ripkema going backwards right now.
And Emmerling really trying to turn his week around with a solid finish tonight after his solid run on night 1 that was taken away in post-race tech. Hasn't been able to bounce back. Was involved in that big melee in turn 2. The second night of action for the Tour mods, and then just hasn't really had solid runs following the first night. But I think that car definitely has the speed.
Watching the Jan Kowiak number 12 car, and now we look at our top 3 closing on one another. Kobe looking to be the 9th Mod Tour champion to win the Richie Evans Memorial. And again, you look in the 2nd spot, Hirschman seeking his 3rd win of this Richie Evans Memorial. So good in these long-distance races. Catalano looking to win for the first time at the World Series.
And Hirschman trying to be the first person to win the John Blewett III Memorial and the Richie Evans Memorial in the same year.
As we watch Hirschman go to the bottom of the racetrack, he gets a great run at Kobe, heading off into the 3rd turn for the lead. Hirschman there takes it. That battle was short.
Yeah. Doug Kobe didn't want to put up much of a fight. Hirschman has the better car right now. He says, you can go ahead. Show the way, big money. Just shy of halfway, 42 laps in the books.
Closing on halfway. It's been clean and green so far. There's Emmerling making a move. Patrick Emmerling coming forward. Takes 7th away from Solomito, who drops back in line in the 16th. They have Sapienza and Jankowiak right behind him, as that's the rest of the top 10. Watching the battle up front. Now Kobe has decided maybe he doesn't want to run second. Maybe he wants to make a move again on the 60 of Hirschman.
I think Hirschman got the lead and then wanted to start slowing his pace down, start conserving those tires. And Kobe's like, hey, man, you passed me. You better start driving away or I'm going to be right there in your mirror.
You think Hirschman's probably going to drive just fast enough to stay in the lead.
Yeah, you hear that a lot from drivers. They'll grab the lead and then try to slow the pace way down to a pace that they want to run. And that can really complicate things for the rest of the field. And Catalano now going to move around Kobe on the outside. Just a I got a little tongue tie there, a little wiggle out of turn number 4 for that 54 Catalano, but able to drive away with second.
Still watching our top three. There's second and third. It's the 54 of Catalano, the 2-car of Kobe. Second and third on our rundown. Catalano now closing the gap on Hirschman. Hirschman seems to have picked it up again as we watch the top two race through turns 1 and 2. Hirschman leading. Catalano second. Kobe is in third.
Real calm. Haven't really seen any chippy battles, anything that would cause the big one here at New Smyrna Speedway. And right now, I tell you what, this 92 machine in Ocella's on fire, working his way up through the field.
22 of Hosfeld following the 92 of Nocella. As they make their way down the straightaway, Hosfeld might have something for him tonight. He's running in the 6th position. Found his way into the top 5 each and every night. A 3rd place finish last night, had a 2nd place finish on Wednesday night. Also had a 4th and a 5th to start the week.
Halfway home that time at the start-finish line. 50 down, 50 to go, and I think Catalano wants to start leading some laps. He's pressuring Matt Hirschman for the top spot.
Nose to tail at the front of the pack. Hirschman leading, but most likely not overdriving the car right now. We're surprised at the fact that he even came to the front as quickly as he did, but he wants to be the rabbit right now at the mid-stage of the race. He's got a better car than what he's showing, because each time someone gets close, then he pulls away from him a little bit.
And the only thing I could really think about why he would do that is just because he wants the track position. He'd rather make himself a hard pass than to try to negotiate through the field later in the race, because sooner in the race, they're going to move over. All the competition's not going to race you too hard. They're going to say, you want to go, you go ahead, buddy. Later in the race, it's definitely not going to be that same kind of motto. There'll be a lot of hard-nosed racing towards the end of the race, and we're just past halfway. Amy Catalano marching towards the front, and she's been so solid this year.
Yes, she has. She comes into this night top 5 in our points for the World Series and looking for a good run tonight. She finished 5th one night, has also had a 6th place run. She has been very good this week. Both the Catalano cars have been outstanding. She gets to the inside of Calvin Carroll in the 25. It seems to be running a little bit better tonight than the last couple of nights. Carroll running in 12th, Catalano running in 13th. And we talked about that competition yellow that will come at 65 laps of green and said it would be unlikely that it would happen, but these drivers have had a chance all week long to fine-tune these cars, not overdriving them in a long-distance race tonight, not taking any big chances. And I think that's why we could now get to the lap 65 mark.
You're going to be 9 laps away this time at the line.
And at that point, it will be a competition yellow. It will be a controlled pit stop. So those that do come to pit road, and I would say everyone will come to pit road, they will exit pit road. When they get back on the racetrack, they will be lined up the same way that they came to the pits. So you don't have to hire any impressive pit crews, any top NASCAR teams to come over and pit your race car. It's done to save a few bucks here and there, and it's going to let it be won on the racetrack.
I did hear that Jimmy Blewett will have a cup changer changed in his front tires. It'll be Ryan Flores changing tires for him, but Ryan Flores, Jimmy Blewett go back a long time, grew up together. Ryan Flores, the front tire changer.
Jeez.
Whoa.
Meismer up the track, getting lapped by the 60 of Hirschman. He almost closed the door on the back straightaway, and then going into turn 3, Hirschman gets to the outside to put him down a lap, and he's using up a little racetrack. Can't keep the 17 on the bottom tonight. Picked up a top 5 run last night.
It really turned a corner last night, had a really good run. Tonight, not so much, but Catalano, Amy Catalano, that is, moves to the inside of Tyler Ripkema in the 32. Calvin Carroll going to follow through as well.
For the 11th position, Catalano has moved into the spot. Ripkema has fallen to 12th. Calvin Carroll in the 25 to the bottom. 40 to go, but only 5 away or so from seeing the yellow flag wave. Carroll will pick up the spot from Ripkema.
Carroll takes that spot away. Back up front to your leader, Hirschman. He's opened up about a half-second lead over the 54 the 54 of Tommy Catalano.
60 of Hirschman, 54 of Catalano. 62 laps complete. As they race off into turn number 3, Hirschman with the advantage. And that car is very good. What do when they come to the pits here in just a few laps to make pit stops? But first, we got some nose-to-tail action. The 92 of Nocella. Nocella running 4th, Hosfeld running 5th, Emmerling running 6th, and they're nose-to-tail heading down the backstretch right behind Blewett, who currently is in 3rd.
Emmerling has charged his way just outside the top 5. Hosfeld holds the 5th spot, but trying to pass for 4th on Nocella. Going to have the lap machine of Gerstner down on the bottom of the racetrack. Got to pull back in line as they pass that Shady Grady machine. 55.
Gerstner, two-time Southern Modified champion. Last couple of seasons, he's been top-notch campaigner down south as we hit lap number 65. There's the 12 of Jan Kowiak following Sapienza as they go around the 55 of Gerstner. Hirschman, as he comes across the line at the yellow flag, competition yellow time.
This is where things start to heat up. Teams will take tires, adjust on their race cars. This is really where we'll see the comers and goers. Who can make positive changes on their race car. Some might not make any adjustments at all, just take tires, but this gives a chance for some of those guys that aren't happy with their race car to try to adjust on it and make positive changes, and hopefully, for their sake, they can hit the nail on the head.
I think one of the drivers that's pretty satisfied with the race car right now is that guy. 60 car of Hirschman. So good tonight.
And it's rare that we see him even lead before halfway. So if he's up there leading, he charged to the front well before halfway. He must be very confident in his race car.
So Hirschman leads, Tommy Catalano second, Jimmy Blewett third, Anthony Nocella fourth, and Chuck Hosfeld the top 5. Hosfeld's kind of been around 5th and 6th this whole race so far. So I wonder how much he's saving, or if maybe he's not as fast as he wants to be right now.
And that's kind of been his mantra this year. He's just kind of been cruising around in the top 5. And then whenever it comes down to business, he cracks his way, usually to a podium spot. He's been so solid this year. We talked about it earlier. 5th on night 1, 4th on night 2, 2nd and 3rd the following 2 races. And in my mind, went to the top of the board in interviews last night.
Oh, yeah.
Top of the board, P1.
Great interview for Hosfeld. And here they come down pit road. 68 complete. The caution lap count will stop now under this yellow flag period. And a chance to make pit stops. Make changes to the cars. Every single car coming down pit road as the New Smyrna Speedway pace car will continue to circle the track. Tires will go on. Fuel will go in. And adjustments will be made. And that car is the one they're all shooting for. Matt Hirschman looking to win yet again tonight. And had he not got caught up in a crash on the second night of action for the Modifieds, he'd probably be racing with a championship point lead tonight.
Yeah, it's a tough break as we watch the Tommy Catalano crew going to work on his car. There is the 2 of Jimmy Blewett.
And Blewett going to work as well as they make the tire change on this number 2 car. He's been pretty solid tonight, hanging around in that 3rd spot. He's been solid all week long in the Bertuccio Racing number 2. There's the 22. Hosfeld, point leader, had that 16-point advantage coming into the night. Car back down, making sure all of the wheels are tight. Don't want any issues. Don't want to make any mistakes under this pit stop. 17 of Smyrna.
Sure, they made a lot of adjustments on this car. It was not running near as well as they did last night.
Nocella's running pretty strong tonight, the 92 car. Came to pit road solidly in the top 5. There's one of the Carroll entries, one of the 25 cars. Great shots coming from our pit road camera tonight.
I believe that's Nikki Carroll. That car looks more black than it does gray. Nikki Carroll.
Nikki was running 16th.
Speaking of 16, there is Timmy Solomito going to pull out of his pit stall after his team went to work.
We've got modifieds heading back out on the racetrack. Ripkema, still work going on that car. The 32, Ripkema, was going backwards, actually. He was not as strong as he would like to be in the early stages. So again, as they make their way out on the racetrack, since it is a controlled caution, the pit stops and the speed that they get the cars back out on the track doesn't really matter.
No, yeah, they all get their spots back. They'll get back in line. So really just gives them about 3-4 laps with the pace car to make any adjustments they can fit in that time period to tune up their machines. This is where things get interesting.
I think the 54 is going to go pretty strong at it now.
Yeah.
Catalano is going to be going at it hard at this point. The 60 of Hirschman, he's just going to go as hard as he needs to go.
Yeah, this is the go time in the race. And it's kind of a weird spot. There's going to be some people I think don't want to push it too hard because still 30 laps to go. This is about the same distance they ran last night. But the intensity has picked up for sure, and you see him really working the heat in those tires.
Recapping the points coming in, Hosfeld with 230, Hirschman with 214, Blewett with 196, Catalano with 194, and that's Amy Catalano in fourth, and Doug Kobe in fifth with 192. Your point rundown. But Hosfeld, I think with the run that he's had so far, if he can continue for the next 32 laps, will be the champion, but still 32 laps left, and he doesn't want to just win the championship. He wants to get back into victory lane.
Right. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to watch these final 30 laps or so, and I'm going to be watching here for the 2 of Jimmy Blewett. Last night I think he had one of the better cars and struck with some bad luck, and he's been really confident in the speed of this race car, but they haven't really been able to put it all together. His best finish so far is a second place on night 2 for the Tour Mods. That was coming off a third position on night 1. And this Bertuccio racing team teamed up with Showtime. It's been a great pairing.
Zacharias back out on the track. 32 laps from the finish. The field will now double up. We are closing on a restart. And the last 32 laps of this race, yellow flag periods, just the first 3 caution laps are counted, and then the count stops to keep as much green flag racing as possible. The leader is Hirschman in the 60. Second is the 54 of Catalano. Third, the 2 of Blewett. 92 of Nocella in fourth. 22 of Hosfeld in fifth. Field coming to the green, 32 laps to go on fanschoice.tv. Richie Evans Memorial 100 into the wall goes Amy Catalano as we continue down into turn 1. Heavy damage to the right side of that race car, ending her great week. Oh, unfortunate break for Catalano. She was 4th in the points and severe damage to the right side of the race car.
Gotta wonder what happened. Didn't see the whole thing. Not sure if she got pushed up there. Maybe it was some sort of mechanical malfunction. Not happy, though. Window net down. That's a good sign. But tough break, man. She was having such a great week.
She'll need the hook. Second yellow of the race. First one for an accident with 32 laps to go. And that one happened immediately coming off of turn 4. I'm guessing a couple of cars bumped wheels.
Yeah, she shot up to the outside wall. Really no time to react. Got it pretty good.
And there is Catalano, who had a great week. Can't hang her head about the speed that car was turning every night on the racetrack. Very competitive, and finished in the top 5 a couple of nights ago on Wednesday, and was just out of the top 5 a couple of other times to give her a 4th place point standing coming in.
Going to climb out as that car rides the hook back to the pit area. Survey the damage on the right side. They work on getting that race car off the speedway. Still 68 laps complete. Things have started to shake up for sure.
Still yet to go tonight. The Pro Truck 50 lapper coming up next. And then the Ground Pounders 25 laps to finish our night.
She works back over the wall and will walk
That's
to
the
her trailer.
Longest walk here. After a heavy crash that is going to be a costly one to repair. Casey LaJoy and Adam Mackey with you on fanschoice.tv. You know, you're watching across America, across the world tonight from the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing. Only one thing better than that would be to be here in the grandstands checking out the action in person. Beautiful weather conditions each February during the World Series here when all of the racing takes place across the state of Florida. Big NASCAR action over the weekend. Truck race going on tonight. Xfinity race tomorrow and the Cup race coming up on Sunday. Temperature expected to be in the 80s on Sunday for the Cup race here as Catalano makes her way back, and I think cleanup just about finished as we're going to ready to double these cars back up again and get set for another restart.
Still plenty of action coming your way after this race finishes up. As
Amy Catalano doesn't like someone.
Nope.
And she called him a name right there to Ricky Brooks. As we get ready to come off of turn number 4 for the restart, Hirschman the 60, Catalano the 54, Blewett the 2, Nocella the 92, and Hosfeld the 22. We're back underway at New Smyrna. This one looks to be a clean restart, and Hosfeld leads the field into 1 and 2. Up the track goes the 54 of Catalano.
Nocella on the outside, going to try to pressure the 54 Catalano for the second spot. Hirschman up front and showing the way as he has for most of the race. Took that away from Doug Kobe earlier.
Haven't seen Nocella here at the World Series, but he's been strong this year as the 92 of Nocella, Massachusetts driver, Valenti Modified champion in 2017, a former winner of the Rumble in Fort Wayne. Takes place during the month of December as we watch him head into turn 1. It's Hosfeld, the bottom of the racetrack, going for the 4th spot, but can't keep the momentum up. And Emmerling, the 07 races up into the top 5. Oh, look out, Blewett.
Yeah, Blewett with the power move through 3 and 4 and going to take second away. Move into the bridesmaid spot and move Nocella back into third. Nocella gets right back to the back bumper and Blewett able to hang on.
Blewett in second. In the number 2 car, Nocella in third. Catalano's fallen to 4th, trying to rally that car. Looks like it has a little bit of a shove as it pushes up the banking in turn number 4. Emmerling showing some strength as he has had a tough week. Accidents, mechanical issues, disqualification. It was a tough week for Patrick Emmerling, one of the favorites here at the World Series.
Just behind all this battle is Doug Kobe. He slipped all the way back into the 8th position after leading a majority of the start of this race, and he was 9th, got around Jankowiak for 8th, and I believe his march back up to the front has began.
Sapienza, the 35, saw him start to battle with the 22 of Hosfeld as they crossed the line. Hosfeld 6, Sapienza 7. See competitors right around the tail end of the top 5. Now 6th and 7th. With Hosfeld and Sapienza. 25 laps to go. 3/4 mark of this race. And leading the way continues to be Matt Hirschman. His lead across the line, half a second.
Sapienza looking to join the top 3 like he did just the other night. Best finish so far is 3rd. Trying to pressure the 22 of Chuck Hosfeld for the 6th position.
Nose to tail, single file. When does it heat up again? There's usually another late race surge by a competitor or two trying to get to the front. Might be Doug Kobe in the 2 car. He looks to the inside of Sapienza. Kobe led this race early on and then faded.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he went into conservation mode, let these guys wear their stuff out. Now he's going to try to march their way back to the front. Now a little bit of sparks flying between Sapienza and Hosfeld. They kind of hooked bumpers there for a second.
6th and 7th, Hosfeld, Sapienza make the contact. Kobe right there ready to pounce, but they really didn't slow down much when the contact was made. They follow the 5th place car of Patrick Emmerling, the bright green, white, and black number 07. There's Kobe making a run off of the corner. Gets a little bit of draft, helps him close onto the rear of the 36 of Sapienza, drops to the bottom in turn number 4.
Single file still down the front straightaway as these drivers remain calm, looking at drivers from 6th on back to 9th. Chuck Hosfeld, Sapienza, and Kobe. And now Sapienza drops to the inside of Hosfeld.
Side-by-side point leader Hosfeld. Sapienza in the 36 car tried to make the move. Here comes Kobe in the 2. Still shaking down 6th, 7th, and 8th on the racetrack. Final 20 laps, now 19 to go for Matt Hirschman, the race leader.
He's showing the way up front. Jimmy Blewett not letting him scoot out too far, though. Keep him within a half second as Chuck Hosfeld opens up a little bit of a gap over Dave Sapienza. Doug Kobe, this battle has kind of simmered down as the field flashes across the start-finish line on lap 82.
Hirschman's lead still half a second. That's what it's been over the last 5-6 laps over Jimmy Blewett, and I think he's just running, as we mentioned, maybe just hard enough to kind of keep a little bit of a comfortable edge over the 2nd place car. Sapienza again to the inside. Hosfeld the outside. Sapienza the inside lane. 6th and 7th, that battle continues. 17 to go.
Sapienza just not enough to continue that run when he makes the move down to the inside. Hosfeld really good on the exit of the corner. Picks up the throttle and is able to just overpower that 36 of Sapienza and keep him at bay. But Sapienza going to dive hard into the corner, run him up the racetrack.
Side-by-side Sapienza and Hosfeld. They go down into the 3rd corner. Sapienza drives it hard, locks up the tires, continues on. He's edging forward, getting close. As they come down the front straightaway, Sapienza has the spot.
He will clear him through turns 1 and 2, and now drive away with that position. Kobe now going to try to take a spot away from Chuck Hosfeld. Hosfeld starting to fade a little bit. And remember, the points battle is up for grabs between Chuck Hosfeld and Matt Hirschman, but it's got to be 8 positions.
That's the 60 car. Has the advantage, and it's just a comfortable advantage over Blewett. Hirschman now up to a 2nd advantage, so he's extending it now. He knows he's down to the final 13 laps. He can pretty well use it up now.
Yeah, he's just been the class of the field basically since night number 3 when these modifieds took to the racetrack. Had one mishap, and he got caught up in the melee out of turn number 2. That sidelined him for the evening. But ever since then, he's stood in victory lane.
Oh, did you see him work the wheel
big
coming
wheel.
off of
He's
4?
definitely not slouching in that machine.
Yeah, the 60 of Hirschman got sideways coming off of turn number 4. Had to catch up in the steering a little bit. Turned far to the right. Keep that car in the right direction.
You saw brother Tony Hirschman up on the spotter's tower, overlooking for the brother with 10 laps to go. Big Money Matt trying to live up to his nickname once again. How about this? 2 SMRS competitors battling it out for the 14th position.
Back in the field, you see those two go out at the 17 of Meesmer, falling off the lead lap early in the race. We're down to the final 9 laps for that guy, the 60 of Matt Hirschman. Trying to become the first driver, as we've talked about, to win the John Blewett III Memorial on Wednesday night, win the Richie Evans Memorial on Friday night. Solomito to the pits in the 16.
Yeah,
brings Nicky Carroll coming to the pits as well.
He's had some sort of issue, saw him drop off the pace. Currently sits in the 15th position, about 2 laps down now as we hit lap number 93. 7 laps to go for Big Money Matt.
Catalano in the 54, running 4th. Emmerling behind him in 5th. Sapienza just out of the screen in the 6th spot as those two drivers stay inside the top 5. The lead has been cut to just over 7/10 of a second, just under 7/10 of a second now as they cross the stripe. You can see the gaps at the top of the screen. Differential between Hirschman and Blewett. It's closing a little bit. And we're still 5 laps to go this time and really working that wheel coming off of corner 4.
And Blewett really going to have to dig. That time didn't take a dent out. He needs to start taking big swings at this lead. They ran pretty much identical lap times, a 9.86 to a 9.85, even though Hirschman sideways off the corner, still able to keep the speed in that machine. Both of these drivers getting all they can out of these race cars.
That time just slightly better was Hirschman than Blewett, turning, as you mentioned, nearly identical lap times as Catalano in the 54, Emmerling in the 07, running 4th and 5th right now. 3 laps to go. Just a few cautions to slow the pace tonight.
Relatively clean race for your Tour-type modifieds. And this driver right here stating his dominance, didn't waste time grabbing that lead and hasn't let go of it all the way here with 2 laps to go. Just 2 more circuits here for Matt Hirschman.
Down the backstretch, lap and a half to go. The white flag in the hand this time of Ralph Miller. 1 final lap to go for Hirschman. Still has a decent advantage. Not within striking distance is Blewett. There's 4th and 5th again as they cross the line. One of the tighter battles on the track. But as he enters turn number 3 and heads to 4, Pennsylvanian Matt Hirschman wins for the 3rd time the Richie Evans Memorial 100. Top 5 crossing the line: Blewett, Nocella, Catalano, and Emmerling. And there's Blewett up, pulling alongside Hirschman, congratulating him. What a run for Blewett tonight in the number 2. And the only one better was this number 60 car of Matt Hirschman. Not a terribly big surprise, that's for sure. He would have been the favorite coming into this big race as he seems to find himself at the front. 7th win at the World Series for Hirschman. 3rd in the Evans 100. As he stops in victory lane and he'll celebrate again tonight. We talked about his nickname, Big Money Matt, and that's because in big money races he just seems to find his way at the front. Tonight was a little bit different than normal. He did it early. He went to the front of the pack and led in the early stages of the race. He didn't wait. Maybe he knew his car was that good. Just saw a couple of twitches from the car late in the going on the exit of the corners. But he crosses the line in front of the field as the winner tonight. And we will send it down to Casey LaJoy, who will talk to Matt in victory lane.
Matt Hirschman taking his time, soaking in this victory at New Smyrna Speedway, the Richie Evans Memorial Race. Has the helmet off, wheel getting ready to come off. He's going to climb out his 3rd win in a row. Just a state of dominance. As he talks to some crew guys. Jimmy Blewett going to come in and shake his hand. What a battle these two had, trading lap for lap. And here he comes, Matt Hirschman, your winner tonight in the Richie Evans Memorial. Matt, you've won Lord knows how many races. I probably should know that. I'm the reporter. But what does it mean to win this race, the Richie Evans Memorial?
Well, I mean, this is the biggest of the week, but man, just to win 3 in a row is incredible. You know, before we left, the last thing my dad said was to my son and I was to win some races. So we just got 3 in a row. So 3 for 6 ain't bad. And I mean, we didn't end up winning the points, I don't think. But we kind of dominated the last part of Speed Weeks here, and I've never done that before. And you know, it's just such a grind. I mean, for this week plus, all eyes in the short track world are on New Smyrna and Speed Weeks down here. So this is just so cool to come down here with a group of guys and just work your rear ends off. And you know, we wrecked Tuesday bad, almost thought we were done, and just, you know, worked hard, put it back together, and I found my groove. I don't know where it was a week ago from when we started this deal, but I found it now. And, a lot of great drivers, this Richie Evans race. I mean, that Evans orange, is just, iconic, legendary. So to win any race with that name on it, Ricky Brooks said next year there's going to be some kind of cool trophy because I want something to win. I want to win this race with some orange on it, and hopefully next year they can put that together. So this is just cool to win the Blewett Memorial, now the Evans Memorial, the two biggest races of the week. These guys just worked hard, and it's just Troyer chassis, Bob Bernot engine, and all the hard work from my dad at home to all these guys here. This is great accomplishment. This is one where I'm talking a lot because I'm really pumped, man. 3 in a row. This is a nice streak. We'll see if we can keep it going at Myrtle Beach.
We saw you kind of go a strategy you've never really gone before. You took the lead early. We're used to seeing you laying low. Was that because you had so much confidence in your car?
Well, not really, actually. I've led a lot of this race the last 3 years. I did not win this race last year. Ryan Preece did. Ben's been saying I'm the defending winner, but I didn't. But 2 years ago, we won it. Last year, battle with Preece, ended up second, and now we got it again this year. So, this winning this race feels like when you win a race at home that's like a 10,000 a win race. You don't come down here for the big money, but that's what this feels like. I want to go celebrate with these guys.
Big money living up to his name yet again.
Pretty excited. He did say a lot. He's stoked to win for the third time the Richie Evans Memorial 100 as he celebrates with family and friends and crew down in Victory Lane tonight. And he was the only driver better than the guy that finished second, Jimmy Blewett. The 2B was strong at the end, just couldn't run him down. Nocella takes third, Catalano takes fourth. Patrick Emmerling in the top 5. Sapienza was 6th. Hosfeld, Carroll, Kobe, and Zacharias rounding out the top 10. Second place finisher was Jimmy Blewett, and right now he's with Casey LaJoy.
Yeah, talking to him down here, I said, you were close. He said, yeah, close don't count. So hustling that thing at the end just didn't have enough for Matt.
Nah, Matt and his guys, they do their homework. They don't call him Big Money Matt for nothing. My guys gave me a great car. I couldn't ask for anything more. We were matching lap times out there at the end. I was catching him. He would pull away, I'd catch him. It was just a crapshoot there. Track position pretty much was everything for us. But I want to say hi to my family back home. Can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. Grandpa did my best. Fell a little short, but can't say enough about this team. Stosh, my crew chief, Mike Bologna, my grandfather for helping me, Bob from Atlantic Sprinkler back home. Just everybody that put their heart and soul into it this week. Joe Bertuccio lost his mom this morning. So it was a tough day for all of us, but everybody kept their heads high and went out there and raced the best we could in memory of her.
Showtime finishes second.
Second place run for the 2 of Blewett. Good week for the number 2 team, picking up some solid finishes throughout the week. Just couldn't get into Victory Lane, though they sure were close in the biggest race of the week tonight. Third place finisher, the 92 of Nocella. Casey LaJoy is with him.
Nocella solid all week long. Nocella really good. Just what did you need there at the end?
Yeah, my guys are telling me like lap 91 was our quickest lap. It was getting better and better there, and we were a little snug at the beginning there, but not bad. Then the collar on the steering shaft actually loosened up, and the steering shaft was kind of falling off. So that was trying to hold that on as we ran there because I didn't want to pull it. I didn't want to stop. The car was so good, and just kept getting better and better there. But we broke our good motor earlier in the week, so I had to go to the backup motor, and you could feel it was down on power. But I knew if we got the thing handling good, we could get a nice top 3 finish out of it, and that's what we did there. I think we gave up some. I really think we could have ran with them if we had the power in it, but all in all, a great finish of the week. We had a good start, and then we weren't very good there at the beginning through the middle of the week there, but kind of went right back to our notebook, all back to what we had, and ran good again.
Well, Anthony Nocella battling through adversity to a third-place finish.
92 car was strong all week. Most of the races this week, he was definitely a contender for a top 5 run. Ended solid tonight. Has to be pretty happy with a third-place finish. Nocella in the 92. You see our front straightaway covered with media and teams and drivers celebrating top 3 runs. Also down there, the 4th car in line one that picked up the World Series championship. Casey?
Standing by with Chuck Hosfeld. You're not trying to get one of those adult hugs yet, are you?
Yeah, of course, all the time.
First of all, talk us through winning the championship. What's that mean?
It means a ton. I actually this morning was thinking about the championship winning, meaning more than the race. Our car was not good enough to win the race, and we had to hold off Doug Colby with like 15 to go, and luckily we did that. We made one mistake on our pit stop. I think if we could redo it, we'd have a faster car. But here's the thing: we had a great week, a fun week. My car is as pretty as when it came. It's not all beat up like some of the other guys' cars, and I joked around and said I had the prettiest car and prettiest girl and the best guys, and we finished strong, so I'm really proud of what we did.
Yeah, you've definitely been one of the more consistent drivers all of Speed Weeks. What does this do for you moving on to the rest of the season?
Well, we won our ROC championship in 18. I was proud of that. That was the fourth time we did that, and then this is unfortunately all the times we've been coming here, this is only the second time we won the championship, but you know, it just feels great going into a season with a car we built just now within the last month or so. I have to thank Joe Mancuso. He works his ass off, and without him, we wouldn't have any success. So a whole team effort, though. He's not the only guy. We've got a great team, and it's all my friends. Some of the guys have been with me 20 years. So. And my parents came tonight, so I could talk all night. The battery will run out will run out on your microphone. So let's leave it at that. I just thank you to you guys for your coverage. People at home love it, so thank you.
Well, eat, drink, hugs, repeat. The champion, Chuck Hosfeld.
What a week for Hosfeld. He mentioned a car not good enough to be a winning car this week. He was close, had a couple of podium finishes, but tonight he just hung on. And one more spot he loses in that race, and he loses the championship to that guy, Matt Hirschman. That's how close it was. Just a couple of points, the differential tonight. When it came to the whole week, 5 nights of racing for the Tour-Type Modifieds, and again, they didn't disappoint. Looking forward to 2020 when they come back for another World Series, the 54th running next year. Tonight's action isn't over here on fanschoice.tv. We've got the Pro Truck debut for the World Series, a 50-lapper, coming up after this.